The audience.
There you go, boss. Thanks, Dave. Regardless of your age group, most of you remember an Orkin commercial. Whether it be Hey Orkin Man, or the Terminator Orkin Man, the one with the laser shooting a roach in the corner, or maybe this one.
Clues and buckets of food. Once Bugs get into your home, there's only one way to get him out. Call a man. The Orkin Man at 1-800-800-ORKIN.
It really did look like there was a roach on the screen, didn't it? Because of their ingenious ad campaigns, Orkin has planted their name on each one of our memories. Orkin has at least one branch office in every state. There is no area in the United States their service does not cover. There are many people who are well aware of who they can call, but due to a real fear of pesticides, would never consider the idea. Since there are many people with a fear of pesticides and question the knowledge of the individuals that apply them, I will show these fears unwarranted in explaining the training, testing, and education involved in becoming a licensed pesticide applicator in the state of Nebraska. According to a June 2012 article titled Pesticides, Health and Safety, there are over 1 million applicators currently certified nationwide, including 900,000 private applicators and about 350,000 commercial applicators. Laws regarding the registering of pesticides and the licensing of pesticide applicators began with the passing of the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act of 1947, which from here on out I'll be referring to as FIFRA. FIFRA has been amended several times since its beginning in an attempt to place more emphasis on the environment and the public health. FIFRA was amended in 1972, changing the governing body for regulating pesticides from the United States Department of Agriculture to the newly formed Environmental Protection Agency. FIFRA was amended again in 1996 with the passing of the Food Quality Protection Act, requiring that the EPA to monitor and establish a standard for pesticides used in food commodities. Special emphasis was placed on the efforts toward infants and babies due to their size. FIFRA defines a pesticide as any substance or mixture of substances intended for preventing, repelling, and mitigating any pest. According to a 2010 survey by the EPA on FIFRA, all pesticides must prove that it will not generally cause unreasonable adverse effects on the environment in order to be registered by the EPA, and also to be categorized as either general use pesticides, which is available to the general public, or restricted use, which requires an EPA certification. Congress has passed federal laws and even created a government body to develop regulations on what pesticides are legal to use and who are legal to use them. In the 2012 article titled Pesticide Registration, reasserts that the FIFRA mandates that in order to be for a pesticide to be sold or used in the United States, it must be registered with the EPA. The EPA requires for a chemical to undergo over 100 different specific scientific tests prior to being eligible to apply for registration. The EPA conducts a series of tests of their own on the product to ensure it meets federal safety standards. These tests include evaluations of the ingredients of the pesticide, effectiveness of the pesticide on target pests, effects of long and short-term exposure to the pesticide, and the potential of the pesticide to cause adverse effects on humans, wildlife, endangered species, and non-target organisms. I hope that I have eased some of your fears by the telling about the many rigorous tests these chemicals go through to ensure their safety to the environment. Now that we have demonstrated what it takes to be legal to use, we'll see what it is who is legal to use them. Anyone applying pesticides is required to be certified through the EPA. Even though the EPA is the governing body, training and certification testing is done by the state that the individual will be applying the pesticides in. The governing body over pesticide use and licensing in the state level is usually the Department of Agriculture. As stated in the 2010 article, the Pesticide Act, FFRIS allows states to adopt their own regulations related to the sale and use of pesticides within their own state, as long as the regulations are no less stringent than the ones the federal government already have in place. So instead of 2, Nebraska has 3 types of pesticide applicators licenses: private, commercial, and non-commercial. A private applicator license allows that person to use or supervise the use of a restricted use pesticide in the production of agriculture commodities on or owned by themselves or their employer. To receive certification, the applicant must attend a private applicator's testing program sponsored by their local county extension office, complete the self-study materials offered by their county extension office, or successfully complete a private applicator's exam administered by the Nebraska Department of Agriculture. Private applicators are required to recertify every 3 years. A commercial applicator license allows that person to make applications of a restricted use pesticide to the land of another for hire. Anyone making structural or lawn care pesticide applications to the property of another for hire, regardless of whether they're using general use or restricted use pesticide, is required to have a commercial pesticide applicator's license. The exam for certification is divided into various categories. All applicants are required to pass the General Study Standards exam, which pertains to the use of pesticides, and at least one category exam. The category exam are more specific to the type of certifications applying for. The commercial applicator's license is valid for 3 years. A non-commercial applicator's license allows that person to make applications of a restricted use pesticide under the direct control of their employer on a not-for-hire basis. Non-commercial applicators are required to pass the General Studies exam along with one category exam, just as a commercial applicator does. Federal and state governments in the United States believe that continually testing all aspects of the pesticide industry will ensure the health of and the environment and all of its citizens. So don't live with bats in your belfry or ants in your pants. You can put your fears to rest knowing that individuals that obtain a Nebraska applicator's license are trained and tested true professionals.